Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to, I hope you missed us. We were gone for just 1 week, actually.
1 week.
Just
we
1 week.
Gone that long.
But we did manage to give you fantastic stats for our return. I feel responsible.
Yes, drum roll, please.
We tallied 26 primetime shows, out of which written or co-written by women 16, which is 61%, and directed by women 18, which is 69%.
I have to take quite a bit of credit for that because there were quite a few shows I watched that you don't watch, and they were all...
I still don't know if that would
Siren.
mean taking credit for it, since you didn't actually choose the directors and the writers. But I'm just saying.
But I watched the series.
So you have your taste, your fine taste. You say you take responsibility for that. Okay. So we have a few things to tell you about today, of course, and we're going to start with the new movie Heads Up, which is premiering August 9th in theaters, and it's called The Kitchen.
Oh, I can't wait. We just watched again the trailer, and it just looks so cool.
Well, wait till we just tell you who's starring in it, and that will be enough. But first of all, it's directed by Andrea Berloff and written by her as well, based on a comic book series by Ming Doyle and Ollie Masters. Usually, I don't go for things that are from comic books, but this doesn't look remotely...
have any comic book
I know, I don't know where
qualities.
But it's starring Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Moss, Tiffany Haddish, and just for a bonus, Margot Martindale, too.
Who's in everything.
And I'm happy for her to be in everything.
Too.
She upgrades everything she's in.
Yeah, she does. Not that this needs much upgrading.
But usually when you hear Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish, you think funny. Usually when you hear Elizabeth Moss, you think not funny.
She looks like the funny one in this one.
Right. I think they tried to mix it up a little bit. But Melissa is definitely going over to the dark side.
Oh, yes.
I like that.
Well, I love her.
She's doing more and more drama. And this is not a funny comedy. This is a serious movie. And it's about 1970s. Three women whose husbands are Irish mob, I believe.
They're all different mob.
They're gangsters.
Yeah, New York gangsters in Hell's Kitchen.
In Hell's Kitchen, right. And they're all going to prison, and the women have to step up to take care of themselves and to keep the neighborhood intact. And I'm really, really hoping this is going to end up being everything that The Widows didn't end up being.
I still don't understand why The Widows was so acclaimed.
No, it was really, really...
It was a really tacky movie.
Yes, it was. And we had such high hopes for it.
Oh, my God.
So I'm hoping this is going to be what... everything that The Widows didn't end up being. And it looks violent.
Very violent, but it also has its moments of humor.
Oh, for sure. And the women together.
Yes.
They look like they have great chemistry. Melissa McCarthy, she can do no wrong.
Anything she touches turns to gold. She's like, we should call her Midas McCarthy.
It looks fabulous. I really hope our guy here on the Vineyard will bring the movie and not disappoint us. But wherever you are, you should definitely go see it. It, again, opens in theaters August 9th. It's called The Kitchen, and it has a fabulous cast, and the trailer looks excellent.
Now
we have a movie review.
A new movie review of a movie you might not even have heard of and may not even have the opportunity to see in a theater near you. You may, but it is going to be in release eventually. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. It's called Wild Rose, written by Nicole Taylor, directed by Tom Harper, and starring the magnificent, suddenly almost everywhere, Jessie Buckley. Julie Walters plays her mother, and Sophie Okonedo plays her employer and friend, becomes a wonderful friend to her. And it's about a troubled young Glasgowian woman who she's 23, she gets out of prison. All her life she wanted to be a country singer, and before the thing she did, which was not that bad, she was playing a club. They have a Grand Ole Opry in Glasgow. And she was, like a minor celebrity there. She has 2 children. She's a dreadful mother, an absolutely terrible mother. She never should have had those kids at her age. Her mother, Julie Walters, fortunately takes care of them. And she goes about trying to make this dream come true. The movie starts out, I think, a little slow. And you don't really like her very much. She's a totally self-centered, just kind of an impossible girl. But her spirit is on fire. And Jessie Buckley is a wonderful actress, and this is a tremendous showcase for her talents. As the movie goes on, it gets better and better and better, and it actually leads to a very uplifting ending. These kinds of movies, it was sort of a kitchen drama, meaning that it's about people in a lower middle class, some on the fringes of society. There's a few people who are regular middle class, but it's just about regular, ordinary people. This one particular regular, ordinary person has a big dream. I mean, to be from Scotland and think you're going to be a country singer. However, when you have a voice like Jessie Buckley turns out to have, it isn't so surprising. I recommend this film. I recommend it if you like the milieu. Someone in a review compared it to a Ken Loach kind of a movie. If you like Jessie Buckley, and why shouldn't you? And if you like aspirational movies about people who want to be something other than it looks like they could be, and if you like good country music, I say go and see it. I think you'll enjoy it very much, and it's good to support independent films.
So this is called Wild Rose.
Wild Rose.
It is in theaters now. It's a British film, so maybe in Britain it's already maybe it's easier to find it in Britain, but it will probably be on demand at some point soon.
Julie Walters is also wonderful, by the way.
She always is. I mean,
Sophie
really.
Okonedo. This is a completely different kind of a role. She plays like a wealthy housewife, and liked it a lot.
Okay, now we're going to talk about a few shows. We're going to revisit a few shows that we talked about before. One is Big Little Lies, and we haven't at all talked about the second season because we just had, first of all, it was a very, very short season. It was, I think, 6 episodes. It just ended on HBO. And to me, the reason I haven't said anything about it was because I needed to see where it was going, because it was kind of a tough season to swallow.
It was.
Let's start with just reminding you that it's based on the novel by Leanne Moriarty and created by David E. Kelly, and starring what are they called? The Montauk Five? Or
the Montauk Five, yes.
Is that where it is? Montauk? No, Montauk is fair.
No. The Monterey.
Monterey Five,
yes,
right.
California.
Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon, Shailene Woodley, Laura Dern, and Zoe Kravitz, and of course in this season, and we're going to talk about her in a minute at length, but Meryl Streep. But so the first season was very, very strong. And I don't know, actually, I haven't read the book. I don't know if it ended where the book ended and now they're going off the book. Mm-hmm. But the second season was very, very miserable. Everybody was miserable. And even the ones who weren't miserable, like Shailene Woodley, she's always kind of miserable.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was kind of the classic sophomore slump, except for, well, it got better.
They're all superb. I mean, they really are.
Oh, yes.
And Nicole Kidman, and especially in this season, Laura Dern, really, oh my God.
Yeah. And you learned a lot more about Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
Her mother comes.
To me, she's the weakest link, though, in this.
Yes, but I think that she was...
Yes, she had a big storyline. But of course, this was the season. This was the dance between Nicole Kidman and Meryl Streep.
I was going to say the season for Nicole because she really was at the heart of it.
But to me, this was really a duet of these two,
and we've tango.
And we've never actually seen them do any kind of. I mean, they were in the hours together, but they didn't actually have scenes together. Right. So that we've never seen these two women act together, and it was just, especially in the finale, which was really almost all those two at the center of it, and it was the showdown, and it was so good.
That finale, the courtroom scenes, were to me worth every other misery we suffered throughout it. Really,
I mean, it wasn't awful throughout. It was just kind of draggy,
it was kind of miserable,
yeah.
and everybody was miserable.
But that finale, oh my God! First of all, Meryl, I just, I see Meryl in everything because Meryl is so Meryl, but it helped that she had the fake teeth, the wig, and everything. But she was so different from everything I'd ever seen her do, and she is just a genius. I mean, I didn't need to see this performance to tell you this.
Oh, right. Yes, it's not like, oh my God, this was revelatory.
A discovery, right? Up until now, she was like very overestimated.
Is that what you called her? Overestimated?
But it's amazing to me that after decades of having this stellar career, she still manages to wow me.
And she's going to continue to do that with every role she has.
This is why she is Meryl. And this
I hated this character. I hated her. I've never really hated a character that Meryl's done, even though some of them have been annoying. I loathed this woman. And I still loved Meryl.
Yes. It was, and you know, I really appreciate that even though it was, and we're not going to spoil it for you in case you haven't seen it, and even if you are not a Big Little Lies viewer from before, I think just for Meryl even, you should watch it, even though I think you should watch it for the show itself too.
It's an excellent show.
But I liked that whole... The final episode was also extremely well written. Those courtroom scenes were very well written. The ending was very well written. And Meryl's character, even though she could have been a hideous caricature, was not.
No.
She really was not.
She had her softer side. She had her rationale for doing what she was doing.
Yeah. She was very complex.
But... I was going to say, but she was very passive-aggressive, but on the other hand, she was aggressive too, right? So she was both passive-aggressive and aggressive.
But she was very interesting to watch.
And she was really a wolf in sheep's clothing to begin with,
But she was extremely interesting to watch.
She is always interesting to watch.
Yes.
Is there anybody...
No, not just Meryl, but as the character was written also.
Yes.
I found that she was more... interesting than they could have made her.
Yeah, she was a well-written character, but I'm sure Meryl brought things out in her that were not on the page.
That's what Meryl does. So this is Big Little Lies, the second season. It didn't. And
Nicole was also sublime.
Nicole, yes, Nicole, Laura, and Meryl. To me, this was their season really. Reese Witherspoon and Shailene O'Neill really had a very small storyline.
Reese's story was sort of...
but it wasn't. It didn't excite me.
No.
And anyway, we highly recommend it, and we hope they come back for a third season.
So now we're going to revisit the Loudest Voice miniseries playing now on Showtime. And if you haven't seen it, go get thee to Showtime.
Yeah, we previewed it before it came out, and now we have to talk about it. Now
Because we had no idea really how magnificent it was going to be and how chilling and how horrifying. And you will learn things that you won't even believe. You'll in retrospect say, oh, of course, that's, we know that's what
it makes
Fox
sense.
News is. News, I use that word with, big quotation marks. But this is how it became Fox News. It's starring the amazing Russell Crowe,
which we don't usually say.
No, he was just absolutely
he still is,
genius.
By the way. The season is not
isn't
done.
over.
I mean,
exactly.
the miniseries is not over yet.
Just genius. Sienna Miller, who plays his wife, is so superb and almost unrecognizable without doing much. She's one of those actresses that kind of quietly slips into a role, and you go.
But also, they all have really good makeup and prosthetics and all that.
Naomi Watts, who plays Gretchen Carlson, comes. She
comes
have
more
much
to play in the second half of the
in the beginning. And someone who I had never even heard of, though it turns out I have seen her in a couple of things. Annabelle Wallis, I think, plays the sort of revelation of the series. Fascinating, painful character to watch, to experience her
story is really the most painful story.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And she is absolutely, she just will creep below your skin. Anyway, interesting to learn that Rupert Murdoch was not the villain, really, in this story.
No, Roger Ailes is really the biggest monster.
Was the monster, and I think if it had been up to Rupert Murdoch, there would have been a little bit more legitimacy to Fox News, interestingly enough. And I'm happy to see it, since he was my boss for a year.
This show really is a mind blower.
It is.
And it's one of those things, I mean, to watch that and then years and years kind of alongside each other.
Exactly.
It just really, really...
and Handmaid's Tale. To be watching those at one time is pretty dystopian.
I mean, I don't think we, anyway, needed our eyes opened, but it's amazing how much wider they can be open. There are always behind the scenes things that we don't know. And even though we think we know how bad it really is, it's always amazing to find out it's actually much worse.
And it's amazing how low people will go, literally, to hang on to a good job to further their career until they can't.
Yeah, but it's not even just how low they will go. I mean, there's much more to it than that. There's an abusive relationship that's formed. There's a psychological
he's Machiavellian. He's like a cult leader. He really is, and he's a cruel.
But it's not just that.
He was a cruel, vile man.
He was many things, but when it comes to the way he treated women, because he was also abusing men.
He didn't just abuse women,
but he abused women in a different way, of course, sexually, and also again the psychological hold. When you look at the character that Annabelle Wallis plays, which is not even a character, it's a real person whose story this really happened to her. He and his people had a hold of her life. And
she was almost like their prisoner.
Yes. So it's not just...
because she knew too much.
So it's not just that she did something for a job. It becomes... He consumed her life, and he controlled her psychologically, and this is what abusive, powerful men do. Yes, this is what they do.
They isolate you. They keep you under their control.
And it's like, what you do in torture. They beat you with one hand, they caress you with the other. So it's really psychological torture that he did to her. And he broke her. I think he really, really broke her. The fact that she managed to survive this whole thing intact and psychologically intact is
and even, I believe, Sue... she's Showtime
she said that they didn't ask permission to use her story, and that some of the things were taken out of, I don't know. Anyway,
it's based on the book, The Loudest Voice.
Well, it's based on Gabriel Sherman's book, and actually now
makes an appearance
in the series. We get to that point where he wants to write the book and what happens. It's a phenomenal show.
I couldn't recommend it more highly, except that it's so depressing.
And this is actually a good time to mention the Lady Parts TV Awards, because both Big Little Lies and The Loudest Voice didn't make the cut, because we did have to follow. I mean, we wanted to follow the Emmy rules so that we can present our alternative to the Emmy nominations, and so some of our favorite series like Big Little Lies, like The Loudest Voice, like Years and Years, couldn't make this cut. But I tell you, we wanted to nominate. We had like 8 different nominations for this show.
Absolutely, and
it will make it for next year.
We at first, had every intention of saying "fuck you" to Emmys,
because we just
everybody.
really wanted
we just
to
wanted to, but then we realized that really and truly, if we are going to be an alternative of some sort, we need to stick to some degree to the rules.
Right. So but it's definitely going to be nominated next year.
Oh.
And it really could win everything. I mean,
it's a shame that it couldn't happen while it was fresh in everybody's mind, though, because they're amazing series.
Anyway, The Loudest Voice should almost be mandatory viewing, especially if you have people in your family who watch Fox propaganda, and so you can educate them on what really happens behind the scenes of that terrible network. It's on Showtime. You can go binge it right now, and there are still a couple of episodes left to go. And finally...
now, once again, falling into the category of shows that no one ever talks about, nothing, no one gets awards, it's just there for fun, which I don't agree with. And this is why I'm talking about it. I'm talking about Siren, which is on now, though it is coming.
On Freeform, right?
On Freeform. It is coming. I think there are very few episodes left. I've liked Siren right from the beginning. It was created by Dean White and Eric Wald, and it stars Eileen Powell, who is such an interesting person, actress, face. She's just so fascinating. She couldn't be more perfect to play this mermaid who, comes to they can transform themselves and be on Earth for a while until they really need to go back to the sea. Alex Rowe, who plays Ben, and Viola Evans Akingbola, who plays Maddie. And there's a couple of things that are very interesting about this. First of all, it is about mermaids. How much more interesting can that get? But it's also about ocean conservation, what we do to our oceans, how we're killing our sea creatures. It's about mythology. It's about corruption. It's about love. There's a threesome between Ben, Maddie, and oh my goodness, I all of a sudden can't. Rin, who's the mermaid. Pretty explicit. They are in love. It is actually quite beautiful. But that's Freeform is getting very cool. I just think that it's about prejudice. It's about the exploitation of a race of people, and I think it's a wonderful show. I guess it falls under sci-fi. None of us have run into a mermaid. But it also has many, many, many other good reasons to watch it. The acting is generally good, sometimes terrific, and it just has an awful lot to say.
Okay, Siren is on Freeform, the second season right now, right? And you can binge on it. You can go back and watch it, the first season. I just want to say before we go...
Do watch the first season before jumping into the second season.
I do want to say before we go, because we're running out of time, but I do want to say that we've been talking about the Handmaid's Tale throughout and how terrible it's been and how horrible and hard and blah, blah. I just want to say this episode that we just saw this week, I believe we have 2 more to go. So I think it's episode 11. Was a game changer.
Yes, it was.
It was so good and so fulfilling, and I can only hope. I mean, they really waited too long.
Yes, they did
to
wait
give
too
this
long,
to us.
But
now that it's happened, they really crammed a lot into one episode. We have 2 more to go. I hope that they're going to cram a lot into those.
Yes, because there's things happening under the big things, and we just don't know which way things are going to go, who's going to go what way.
Right. So this was a huge episode. And so if you have been kind of dragging your ass with this season because it's been so
painful.
It's so hard to watch. It's really been so hard to watch. This episode gave you a huge payoff. And I hope that they're going to continue to build on it because it's just been renewed for a 4th season. And, you have to start climbing up.
You have to. You just can't continue to do this to us week after week after week without some sort of relief.
Right, so I'm hoping that this is the start of that trajectory. And with that, we're going to bid you adieu for one more week. And we're going to talk to you again next week.
Yes.
And hopefully you'll be watching all of these things by then. Don't forget to go right now to ladypartstv.com and go on our blog and vote. Get your ballot and vote on the Lady Parts TV Awards because we want all of your input to go into.
We want as many votes as we can get. We really want.
This is the voice of the people.
Big, yes,
the voice of the people. All right. Thank you for joining us again. Bye.